and welcome to this, the second episode in our little Let's Play series for the Create mod. And over the last few days I have been busy trying to cement something of a rather more solid aesthetic for this build. So as you can see, I've brought the stone right down and I'm trying to keep the wood mostly up at the top. Partly because I've been thinking a little bit about kind of the lore of this world and why on earth they would build the city right up there on top of that hill, and the most obvious answer is because the water is not stable and it will rise sometime, and that might also be why this place is getting rather dilapidated if it keeps getting flooded. Either way though, never minding the lore, what else have I been up to? I've made a little water source just off to one side, and on the inside I've just made a little bit of extra area just for storage, put down some floors, that sort of thing. I'm not too sure if in here I want it to be just storage, or do I want to be with more contraption-y type stuff? I don't know, so at the moment it's just being a little bit blank and we'll see where it goes in the future. Right downstairs, on sort of the lowest basement version I suppose, this is definitely just storage at the moment. Partly because I'm thinking I don't particularly like running up and down mines and all of that sort of business, so I'm thinking about making a little entrance down to my mine here. It can go down on a mine cart and then that can transport me up and down in a nice lazy fashion, because just off to this side, that's where my mine is. I've just run down there down to the bottom of the world. If we just head up here though, this is going to be the main living area of the little shack. So I've put all the storage up here that we're using at the moment. It's not a huge amount, but it'll be fine to get us started. I've just tried to start getting things a little bit more organised so that things can at least be found relatively easily. And here though, I have come across my first stumbling block, which is basically that this is all of the iron I have got to my name right now, which really isn't very much. And funnily enough, I don't much fancy going mining, and so the next thing we need to make for this world is definitely going to be an iron farm. And here is where the Create mod starts to get interesting, because we know we need iron, and now we can work out how we're going to use all the crafting bits and pieces to actually make it. And the easiest way to do that is to start with JEI. So this is a nice little mod that you can add on that tells you all about different items that are within the game. So, if by the way, you're currently looking at a screen that looks like this and you're wondering how to get to JEI, if you just close down the recipe side by clicking on the book, it'll bring up JEI on the other side, so long as you've got it installed, of course. But here though, we can click on our iron nuggets, because that's what we want to make. And it'll bring us up all of the different ways in which we can make iron nuggets. So we know that we can break down an iron ingot into nuggets, we can blast up anything made out of iron into iron nuggets or smelt it, and then here on the end are the create specific ways of crafting. So, first thing that's coming up for us though is automated shaped crafting, which is way ahead of us at this point because we need to have brass and we're nowhere near making anything like that, so we can ignore it for now. The same as using crushing wheels, because these have to be made within the automatic crafting contraptions on the side. I can't make these, they are beyond me right now. But I can blast things, I can get access to lava, I can get access to fans, but if I've already got something made out of iron, that's not really going to help me. But I can also do the washing as well, because I can make a fan. And here we have lovely gravel, which can also be converted into flint and iron by washing it. And gravel is a resource that we can get renewably. So again, from JEI, we can then just click on our gravel, and we can see that, okay, we can crush cobblestone into gravel. This particular recipe is requiring the big wheels, which I don't have, but up here I have a nice little mill, which I can definitely make, and I can crush cobble into gravel from there as well. Which is great, because I already know from playing Minecraft just a little bit, I know that I can make cobble renewably. And so what we've done at this point is we have worked out through JEI how we can get from cobble all the way up to iron, and we can go back through these stages to see what we've got to do. So all we've got to do is we've got to get a source of cobble, we need to mill that into gravel, and then the gravel we then need to wash into our iron. So we've got our processes, we've got our steps, we just need to work out how to put all of this together. First of all though, just give me a second to get some stuff together, just some bits and pieces, and I also need to decide where I want this iron farm to actually be. And I am liking the look of this little patch of land here that kind of sticks off the back of the island. So there's my shack up there, it faces in the opposite direction, and there's a little bit of land just here, which is conveniently close to where I am likely to be doing quite a lot of building. So I should be passing by this quite a lot, and I can just sort of nip in and pick up some iron every now and again. The other option would be there is another patch of land just over here. If I just run past this little nether portal, so you can see just there I've got quite a large flat bit of land next to the water. Basically because I am thinking I want this to run on water wheels and to look like it's using the river to power it. The only problem that I have with this patch of land over here is that it's a bit of a way away. I'm not really going to pass by here very often, I don't think, and so I'm going to find it a bit annoying if I've got to keep coming over here to find iron. To that end then, I think that patch of land over there is going to be better. To that end then, I will go and gather up some bits and pieces and we'll put this iron farm together. Okay, so here we have our little iron farm that I've put together, and I just wanted to show you how this all marries up to what we saw in JEI just a moment ago. So up there is where our cobblestone is being generated. What that's going to do is this falls into the mills. Remember that we're seeing the cobble needs to become gravel, so it's going to go into those mills, which when they are working will grind it down into gravel. It will then fall down these chutes onto this conveyor belt. What I will then do is I will just grab hold of a leaf. And I'm just going to place this in front of this fan that you can see just there. And what I can do is I can then waterlog that leaf, just like so, and then the fan will be able to blast water through there over the gravel that is coming out of these chutes, so it's going to become flint and iron for us. Now, of course, one thing to note about this sort of farm, though, is that if we have another little look in JEI, if we have a look at our iron nuggets, then you'll see that when they get washed down from gravel, they do not have a particularly high chance of actually becoming iron. It is only a 12% chance. So for all, 10 pieces of gravel that come in, you'll be lucky if you get one that becomes an iron nugget. So it's not going to be the universe's fastest farm, but it is going to tick over constantly in the background. And just to point out, I do plan on adding this as a full tutorial to the channel. It'll come up in the next few days, but I didn't want this video to be stupidly long, so if you want to follow along with that, it will be there for you soon. But right now, this farm needs to, one, be actually activated so that it is working, and it also needs to be made rather more aesthetically pleasing than it is at the moment. To that effect, I'm just going to grab some trapdoors, and we will pop them on the front of our cobblestone generator just there so that we can trap our water in. Then I need to pillar up and add some water to the top. So I'll just do that quickly. There we go, so that is our water in place, and last thing we need is we need to put some lava in the top there so that it's actually got something to make the cobble with. Now I am pretty certain, there's definitely going to be some lava over here. Let's go see if we can nab some from around this portal where I've been putting random leaves for some reason. Grab that one and we'll just take it back. Right, and this should be the last little component that we need in order to get this started off. And we'll just pop that into the top of our farm. Just there in the middle. It will spread out to either side and you can see it is forming cobblestone underneath. Right, so let's get that water wheel moving so that we can actually get things started off. So at the moment the wheel is obviously sitting in completely stationary water, so it is not going to be moving for us at all. I need to clear out the water that is underneath it and make it so that it can flow. And how I'm going to do that is I'm going to use these trapdoors. So I'm going to come underneath my little wheel just here. And because that's not actually a solid block directly beneath it, I can place a little mud block just up against it like that. Then if I swim my way around, just to cover these 3 blocks where the water wheel is actually under the water, I'm going to cover those over with dirt, and then I'm going to line them with these trapdoors that hopefully won't stand out too much. I don't want it to look like the wheels are sitting in some kind of track. I just wanted to make sure that it's actually able to flow around and not look like it's just sitting in solid water. I'm just going to get this out of the way. So let's just place these going along, and then if we start removing these dirt blocks, we should find the water is able to flow into this little gap. I remove that one on the end as well. Well, certainly my wheel is turning, and there we go. So is everything else from the looks of things. So let's have a little look and see what is going on, hopefully before it gets dark. So yep, we can see there that our cobblestone is working. It is getting ground up from the looks of things. Are you getting ground up? Yes, you are. It's just exceedingly slow. There we go though. It has gone in. There is the gravel, that is then falling down. And here is our iron nuggets being produced to go into the chest on the side. Brilliant, so everything is actually working. I am going to run and sleep because I haven't died yet and I don't plan on doing so soon. Okay though, this does mean now though that while this is working, one, I can give everything a little bit of a clean up around it, but I can also start thinking about what I want this iron farm to look like. And I'm thinking, because it's right here on the edge of the water like this, maybe it would be some kind of lighthouse type thing maybe. We're not next to the sea, but we still wouldn't want anybody crashing into any of these shores. Maybe it's like a beacon or something that people would use just to navigate their way around, to know where the entrance to the town was. I'm thinking something towery, something lighthousey is what's in my mind. Okay, so it has been about an hour or so now, and I have been gathering materials and resources to put together my little beacony, towery, lighthousey thing that I'm creating. As you can see, I have stuck with very similar materials to what we used to make the little shack, simply because, one, that's what I've got available to me, and I do want these builds to look like they're part of the same whole, but I'm hoping that because this tower is going to be all the way over there, the two won't blend in together, so they're not going to become just one sort of jumbled mass of wood. But I've now reached the point where I'm pretty certain I have got everything that I need, so I am ready to set all of this off. But I'm curious to see in the last hour or so, how much iron have we actually got out of this little farm. Let's just have a look, everything is still running. And that's not bad, it looks like a couple pieces of gravel have managed to sneak in. They're probably ones that fell from here and just managed to travel along far enough to get into that little andesite funnel. Wonder if this one will make it in. It changed, in fact it disappeared, that one is. Its percentage chance was too low, it became neither flint nor iron. Either way though, this is what, about a stack and a half of iron? That's not too bad for iron nuggets for the last hour, and it'll be plenty for my little single player world. But enough of this time mucking about now, I am going to get this build started so that we can have a look at the final product. It though, there is the tower all nice and completed. It doesn't stick out too far into the water. One thing I do just want to do is I do just want to add a second water wheel to it. So I'll just swim over there and then stick another one on. Also, these obviously need bringing down underneath the water because it definitely shouldn't be floating like that. Let's just pop on this second water wheel just so that it looks a little bit more even and a bit more powerful. Just pop you on there. Pop you on there, and then we'll attach it so that it looks like it's actually stuck onto the side of that beam and not just floating. There we go, those two fill that space quite nicely and they look like they're within proportion of this sort of building here that they're attached to. We'll just swim back over and have a little look at it close up. So yeah, at the moment we are floating a little bit of course because it's only just been cannoned in. Here is our little door, here is our little farm. And we're nearly up to 2 stacks of nuggets. Brilliant. Overall though, I'm very pleased with this little tower. I think it fits in quite nicely. From the very top of our hill, you can just sort of see it peeking over the top. And I do have plans actually for the very top of it. It's not going to stay open like that. I'd quite like to get some of the yellow coloured frog lights in there. I can't actually remember which ones they are. I think it might be the ochre ones, but I certainly, whoa, haven't seen any frogs yet. Wow, that was close. This little ravine is definitely going to kill me. As I was saying though, before I decided to plummet to my near death, from this side of the island that tower does stick out just enough that it can be seen quite clearly, and once we've got that nice ochre frog light in there, it will stand out quite well. So it does mean that it should be able to be seen from pretty much all angles, but without being absolutely dominating and sticking way up into the sky, especially not above the shack. That's the last thing that I want. Also, as I said before, despite the fact that it's made out of the same materials, being this far away from each other, they don't look like they're kind of blending into one. I really need to make a bridge here. That was nearly my second fall. But I'll do that next time, I think. For now, I will just remember to run around it. In fact, the only complaint that I have about this as a build is that it doesn't really look much like an iron farm. We might have to make one that looks more 4G somewhere else and a bit less lighthousey, but for now that is a build that will do the job quite nicely. For now though, I'm quite happy with it as it is. Next week we really need to crack on with food because I am sick to death of living on apples and salmon. Need to get something a little bit more substantial going. At very least we need to get some crop farms going. And we also need to hook up some kind of pathing system so that we can get down. We need to decide what our paths are going to look like, how they're going to work as they're moving in between the buildings, how wide they're going to be, that sort of thing. Because I need something that comes from around that side of the shack down towards the lighthouse. And I'm also going to need to find a way to make a bridge over to there as well, because I think that looks like a nice place to start going up that hill. For now though, I am going to call this episode done. We have got our iron farm made. We are a little bit more set for the future. Anywho though, I hope you've enjoyed this little video. Happy Minecrafting everyone, and I will see you again soon. Bye bye!